Good. All right. Good morning, everyone. Hey, sorry to be just a couple minutes late. We were working out our tech issues and we're all sort of new to the Zoom world, and it's exciting to be with you this morning. So thanks for joining in. Hopefully everybody's logged in and we're good to go. I stopped by Penguin Coffee this morning to support our local business, and my friends there wanted to give me an inspirational message in the form of a sticker, but all they had was happy birthday. So if it's anyone's birthday out there today, know that Penguin Coffee is wishing you a happy birthday. I wanted to start this morning with just an overview of where we are as a district and to thank folks for their work during this unprecedented
Unmute. So how do we turn it up? I'm not touching anything.
All right, let's just a tech comment. If you're on, go ahead and mute. You should be muted, but check and make sure you're muted. Are we just starting now? Okay. Hey, there's a cute picture of a dog. Love it. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We were just working through a little bit of a tech issue, but I think we're good to go now. We're all new to this Zoom world, but I wanted to thank you for joining in on this district-wide Zoom conference this morning. And our purpose in coming together this morning is an opportunity to build community, an opportunity to check in and talk a little bit about the work that's been going on the last week to get ready for this unprecedented school closure, and just to thank some folks and talk a little bit about what we're looking at here in the next few weeks. So I started this morning by stopping at Penguin Coffee, and my friends there gave me an inspirational sticker, and all they had was happy birthday. So it's not my birthday, but if it's somebody's birthday out there today, know that Penguin Coffee is thinking of you and wishing you a happy birthday. Wanted to start this morning with a letter from Mayor Geer. Mayor Geer reached out and wanted to share a few words with our staff, and so I'm passing those along to you. And I'll just read through her short letter to you. She says, "Dear Anacortes School District staff, thank you for all you do for the young people of this city. I want to share how grateful I am to each and every one of you. You have been supportive and compassionate as we have begun to navigate this challenging situation together. The primary job and responsibility of the ASD is to provide quality educational instruction to our students in a safe environment. And because of the quickly evolving nature of this situation, it is clear that now is the time to follow the social distancing guidelines set by Skagit County Public Health and the CDC. In the days and weeks to come, we will undoubtedly continue to have challenges in front of us, and I know we will meet these challenges together. We are Anacortes, and we will survive this and be stronger for it. I want to thank you for all the connections you will be building within our community during this closure, and we're grateful for the work you're doing to keep families whole. We are all trying to do our part to slow the spread of COVID-19 and protect our most vulnerable. That means taking care of yourself, your coworkers, and your community members. While this significant public health crisis is occurring, I'm confident that you are contributing to our city's response efforts in your own way. I appreciate your kindness and support of your fellow citizens in this time of uncertainty. What actions may yet need to be taken to protect our community are not yet known, but it is clear social distancing now will save lives. If you can take the time to support a local business, this will help the community's financial well-being. These businesses depend on us to be successful. They give back to the community year after year. Now we need to take care of them. I'm thankful that we have staff and educators that care and watch out for each other. Keep yourselves and your families safe. Be kind and take care. Mayor Lori." So words of encouragement and support from our Mayor, Lori Gear. So here we are in the middle of a pandemic that none of us has ever experienced before. Everybody keeps saying uncharted territory, unprecedented, and it really is. And it impacts each of us in different ways. And what we're trying to do is navigate it together. And that means that we're building that plane as we're flying it, as we often do, trying to be responsive to state guidance, to public health guidance, trying to really think through how can we be responsible community members? How can we be caring educators? How can we make sure we're taking care of ourselves and our families? And then also take care of those we serve. So we're trying to be mindful of all of that. And I know everybody on our staff, what I've always appreciated about being in this district and being in this community is the deep level of care that we have. And now's the time to bring that forward. So we do have guidance that we've been following. And the situation, as we all know, is uncertain moving forward. This is a fast evolving crisis. We've been following the news. We know how this pandemic is affecting the United States. Seattle and King County and Snohomish County and soon Skagit County are sort of a center of the pandemic in the United States. So we're right in the thick of it, and we're doing our best to really be mindful of those public health guidelines in terms of social distancing and just being really smart about how we're engaging with the world. We have new data that shows that that the virus is spreading quickly. In New York, the number of confirmed cases doubled in a day this week. This is incredibly serious. We all know that. And we need to do our personal responsibility to make sure that we're engaging with the world in a safe way, and also just remembering that this is a time to have grace, to show kindness, and to, as Ruler likes to encourage us, to be that best version of ourselves. So I just encourage us all to think about those life lessons that are so important to us that we're trying to teach kids, and to try to model those as we know that things become more intense and anxiety ramps up, and we become more personally challenged. So there's a saying that in crisis there is opportunity, and I like to think about what are the opportunities that we have at hand? How can we care for each other? How can we make sure that we're seeking that opportunity? And then also just remember to laugh. Remember that we're all going to fail in this as we go online and try new things and learn new things and try to support learning. We'll make mistakes. And isn't that a great lesson for kids to say, hey, we're trying this and this is new to us and we're doing our best and we'll not always be successful, and to make sure that we're able to laugh at our mistakes and to keep moving forward. So that's hopefully some inspirational words that can help us collectively live into the challenge and the promise of the next few weeks. I wanted to go through just a few highlights. You saw some of this in my email, but I did want to just touch on it quickly in terms of some of the work that we've been doing, and to thank a few people along the way for their good work to help position us to be successful as we enter this new terrain. So hopefully you saw my email yesterday with updates to staff and families, kind of talking about the state guidance we've received about the work that we're being asked to do specifically, and how we've tried to rise to that challenge through some focused, intentional, deliberate work in the last week to bring people together, to build programs to meet the new challenges that we face. So the first one is food, and I'm really proud of our team and the work that we've done. So we've been serving about 100 kids this week at grab-and-go stations at the high school in Fidalgo. And then we're transitioning into a delivery model next week where we're stopping at elementary school stops, where we're elementary stops. And we're going to be delivering and letting folks know that anyone 0 to 18 can get food. And so we'll be handing that out at those bus stops. The buses will be stopping for about 5 minutes. We'll probably honk horns as we get into neighborhoods so people know we're there. We're anticipating hopefully serving 200 to 300 meals a day, breakfast and lunch together. So it'll be lunch for that day, and then it'll be breakfast for the next day. So make sure your friends and neighbors know about that. We'll be getting the word out, but I'm really excited and thankful to Paula Limbo in our the food services staff, to Karen Garrison and the bus drivers in transportation. They're rallying and putting together a new schedule to make sure that we can accommodate the whole district. Lots of good work there that I'm really proud of. Food to Go is also going to support this effort on weekends and during spring break. That's the weekend backpack program, so that there'll be continued support also during the weekend and during spring break. So that's a great community support for us. Childcare. This is tricky because to try to support childcare for those hospital workers, emergency responders, folks who are in essential services, to help provide a childcare for their children. So we're trying to rise to that challenge and create a program. We plan to launch that at Island View. Nicole Mortimer has been a great support in kind of helping to work through the logistics of that program. We think we're going to have about 20 to 30 kids in there. It could grow. And so our paraeducators are going to help support that program. We are trying to provide some meaningful content. We're following safety guidelines and working closely with the Department of Health on how to practice social distancing within that program, and testing kids and screening kids as they come in every day. So lots of challenges, as you can imagine, in launching a child care program, but trying to respond to the community need and the state directive to be able to allow those folks in essential services to continue to do the work to take care of our community and to provide them the child care they need to be able to do that. So pretty big challenge there, but I really appreciate those staff that will be involved. We'll be really trying to do that in a safe manner, and Nurse Emily Wade has been hugely helpful in helping us with that program, and really across the district in terms of thinking, how can we really practice good health safety as we encounter this new terrain. So thank you, Nurse Emily, for all the work you've done. Moving along, the next guidance we received from the state was really around graduating seniors. And big deal, as you can imagine, and some of you have seniors, and you know kind of what this probably feels like, to having a senior who is just months away from graduation, thinking about AP testing for some of those kids, thinking about credits they need to graduate, thinking about prom and those social events that are so important. So I've heard from some parents that, say that their kids are feeling a burden, feeling a little bit of anxiety around what that means for them. And so we are getting guidance from the state. We're expecting more next week, but we're really looking closely at how can we support those seniors? What does that look like? We have decided to put off senior projects for this year, so we're not going to have that. That was a deliberate decision to just take something off the plate to make it more manageable, both for staff and for kids, as if we do come back in late April or May, to be able to manage that, to support kids with the idea that AP testing, if it happens, looks like it might be delayed. We have some tentative dates for that. So a lot of things, as you can imagine, are fluid, but we're committed to supporting our seniors, and there'll be more information coming, and we'll be actively communicating with our families as we get more guidance. The next one is a big one, and that's that learning opportunity. So this is, what does learning look like in the Anacortes School District? And I wanted to start by just saying that we've been working with our various labor leaders in the school district to come together to try to get agreements in place, to try to build a shared understanding of how we can build this learning program and support employees over the next few weeks, and make sure that we're also honoring employees' well-being. And we know that we've got some employees who fall into at-risk groups, underlying health conditions, over 60. And so we're trying to be really mindful about how can we honor them as employees, and if they're working at home, can we create opportunities for them to do meaningful work at home, whether that be professional development or other work. and then also who is able to work, and then trying to craft what that looks like. So I did want to just give a quick shout out to our labor leaders, Aaron Gibson, Eileen Putnam, Dial Harold, Pat Swap, Patrick Harrington, and Kevin Schwartz, Tom Montgomery. Thank you all for the work that you've done in kind of working with Connie Sheridan, Dave Cram, and our team and me to try to fashion some shared understandings about how we can work together. Your flexibility, your understanding that we're trying to kind of make this work in this unprecedented time is appreciated. So I wanted to share a quick story. I was chatting with my wife last night, and she was on her phone, and then she started cracking up. And I said, what's so funny? And she was looking at a meme online, and so she shared it with me, and it was kind of related to the unprecedented nature of moms, particularly trying to become teachers in their homes. And so this is the meme that she shared. And so I'll read it to you. This is from a boy named Ben. It looks like Ben's probably in 3rd or 4th grade, and his mom took a photo of what he wrote. And it says, and this is called Home to School, and it's from earlier this week. And this is what Ben writes. It is not going good. My mom is getting stressed out. My mom is really confused. We took a break so my mom can figure this stuff out. And I'm telling you, it is not going good. So my wife, Julie, read that and she just howled. And the reason she howled is because I think that there are a lot of moms and dads who in the last week have experienced what Ben's mom probably experienced, trying to figure out, how do I support my kids' learning at home in this new world? And trying to understand the online resources, and then having kids trying to create a schedule. So my wife shared with me late last night that the highlight of her day was binge eating brownies out of the pan and having a glass of red wine as a reward for a really rough day yesterday. So anyway, suffice it to say that in the Wenzel household, we are also kind of trying to figure this out. And I also want to just really frankly acknowledge that that's coming from a household with a ton of privilege. We have technology, we have means and parents with wherewithal to try to troubleshoot how do you create a learning program at home, and some of our families don't. And so I just want to be really honest and authentic in kind of thinking about that, and thinking about, as we roll out these new learning programs, how do we think about families that that don't have a lot of support and means at home to be able to make this happen. And the state guidance has been very clear about this, to challenge us to think about providing learning with an equity lens. And I encourage us all to try to continually wrap our heads around how we're doing that and how we can better serve families who might be traditionally marginalized, who might not have access to the same opportunities that we're providing. So in some of the agreements that you've seen, and hopefully you'll have an opportunity to review again today, there are specific guidelines for the learning agreement that we have and that we're trying to promote. And so I encourage you to look at that. This is intended not to be new work in terms of the learning that we're providing during the closure. This is intended to be enrichment work with teachers and instructional staff available during the workday for communication with families, to answer questions, to provide support. That's sort of the baseline agreement that we have in terms of expectations. And we know that many staff will choose to go above and beyond that and choose to do a lot more, and perhaps provide reading enrichment and encourage kids to look at videos and maybe provide questions about those. We know that you're going to use your professional judgment and your creativity to provide enrichment work for families, and that's great. We embrace that. But there are baseline expectations that are spelled out in those agreements, that in that learning agreement, that we encourage you to look at. And today's a big day, because today we're rolling out work that's been done by Casey Knutson, Angie Miller, Michelle Murray, Fran McCarthy, Robert Pohl, and his technology team. And I'm really proud of the work that they've done with Anacortes Learns and Anacortes Teaches. So these are 2 pages that will have that we're providing to families to help them get the resources they need to support their children. So part of this is independent learning resources that families can access, so a list of resources. And then part of this is the teacher provided enrichment that our instructional staff will provide. So we're really explaining this to our families in both ways, that there's independent learning resources, and then there's teacher provided enrichment support. And so I know that will be a focus today in the conversations, and I encourage you to ask lots of questions and talk to colleagues about how they're approaching this, so that we can support our families. I think, what my wife was sharing with me last night that felt kind of overwhelming to her was trying to figure out, there's so many resources out there, and I'm just trying to put together a program, some basic program that will work for my kids. And I think that's where a lot of parents are right now. So what I'm excited about is that we've got tools to be able to support our kids to do that with Anacortes Learns and Anacortes Teaches. And so really encourage you to leverage those tools and be able to, the whole idea here is that we're offering one-stop shopping through Clever, through Schoology, and that we're really going to try to encourage our families to use Clever to get in there for the elementary. And then we've got all of those resources within Clever, including that teacher page where you can upload your own resources. Robert Pohl modeled this for our administrative team, and as a parent and as an administrator, it was so helpful to see what that looked like yesterday. And so we're going to be talking more about that. Robert's going to do some videos around it, but I think that will be very helpful. And then Schoology. I just want to really underscore the importance of Schoology. The school board has been briefed on Schoology. It will be a tool that will be used in the Anacortes School District for the next 5 years. And I know that it's our first year of implementation. I know there are different levels of comfort with it, but my encouragement to secondary staff is to try to take some time over this closure to, if you haven't been through some of the Schoology training that we've offered in the last few weeks, to try to take some time, look at the memo that we sent out, that Casey sent out yesterday, really try to understand how Schoology works, get up to speed on it, and if you're able, if you haven't already, try to start using Schoology, because it will become the standard for the Anacortes School District in terms of how we communicate with families, and we're letting families know that will be the standard, and the board certainly supports that effort. So appreciate you doing some self-learning around Schoology, and there are lots of staff who can support that learning. The last one was in that guidance was payroll for all employees. We continue to offer full pay and benefits to everyone. And Dave Cram and Connie Sheridan have been working on that with their respective teams. So we're very committed to making sure that works smoothly. And so that's important for everyone, as we know. I just want to close by thanking you so much for being part of this team. We know that, one of our focuses, we're talking about learning, we're talking about food, we're talking about our graduating seniors and childcare and all of these big imperatives, but a lot of this comes down to social emotional well-being. And we're trying to really underscore the importance of keeping staff whole, keeping kids and families whole, and providing whatever support we can. We're going to be offering mental health support throughout this crisis to families. We have opportunities for staff to receive counseling and mental health support through Far West. So please reach out if you feel like you need someone to talk to. That can be a great support. We're seeing increased anxiety during this time. We've seen it with our own kids. We have our 5-year-old Finn is getting scared at night and coming into mom and dad's bedroom. Our daughter Ruby has also shown some increased signs of anxiety. So, you know, it's interesting. They can't pinpoint it, but COVID-19 sort of is in their psyche. And I know that's true for a lot of kids and a lot of adults, that it's kind of hanging over us and can cause some anxiety. So let's just be aware of that, and let's just lead our lives with heart. You know, just do what we can to try to teach during this time it's not direct instruction, but it's providing that enrichment support, making sure we're trying to communicate with families and letting them know we care about them and that we're going to try to provide that instructional support as we can, and checking in with each other and just making sure that we stay whole and we stay connected together as an Anacortes School District community and a larger community. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We may have more addresses in the future just to update you on things, but deeply appreciate you being part of this team. Deeply appreciate the humanity that you're going to bring to our shared endeavors here in the coming weeks, and hope you get outside today and enjoy some sunshine after joining your next Zoom meeting, which will further elucidate some of the work we'll be doing. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.